You rightly asked, how about surviving heat? How about surviving my anxiety? How about surviving my reaction in the mind? How about surviving when my mind doesn't stop reacting, angry, agitated? That is more relevant question than surviving heat and cold. There is an extreme danger of thoughts, feeling, and emotions if they come from mind that is deluded, that is impulsive, that is ignorant and crazy. Anything. Those thought, feeling, and emotions, it may be about me or about others. Both are harming me. Think. Both are harming us. One master created a interesting metaphor. Think of it. The mind uses the mouth like a bow, like a bow. Words like
Like a what?
word, mouth like a bow,
A bow.
bow,
A bow.
Bow and arrow.
Oh,
bow
oh,
and arrow.
oh, oh, oh.
So I'm using only the bow. The words like arrows, false perception or thoughts and feelings like swords. Swords. You are crazy. I know. You see, thought, feeling, and emotions like swords, and doubts like cutting knife. I don't believe you. Are you living in peace and happiness? So it means what? You're always living, you cannot live in permanent peace and happiness. You see, those doubts. Bow, mouth, words, arrows, and thought, false perception, thought, and feeling like swords. It's a bad morning. Thought, feeling, and emotions. And doubts like a cutting knife. These are the qualities of the impure mind. That impure mind about myself, about others, about the society, it has done tremendous harm not only to an individual, but also to the society, to the nation. We wake up in the morning, and in that waking state, my mind reminds of the past. For all practical purposes, I take myself as a body and a mind, and the problem begins. Intellectually, I understand that I am the real self, I am the pure consciousness of the nature of peace and happiness. You see, the power of this impulsive, foolish, crazy, and the impure mind. That is why our master says, purify the mind. Purify the mind. Think, think. You start thinking about yourself. No, I will have problem. Doctor said this, and you continue, keep on thinking. You have thought, feeling, and emotions, and in couple of hours, you are already depressed. Think. That is why we have been. I have taken this topic, the purity and the impurity of the mind. You see that when we wake up in the morning, mind goes through the sense organs and it has a perception. Now, mind goes through the senses. It has a sensual perception. It has a perception of attachment. It has a perception of craving, one type of perception. You see, the same mind, how dangerous mind is, the impure mind is. One type of perception. Second type of the perception takes place in my at the internal level. My past impressions, my experiences regulates my thought, speech, and action. Think how much harm it does. And the third type of perception is a neutral perception. You look at the wall, you are not carried away. But say, for example, you look at the house, oh, I should have this house. The craving mind has come. Now the negative mind also comes. I don't have this house. For example, our master says, hold on, check your mind, be aware where your mind is going. You are not living your life, your mind is living the life because I'm getting carried away by the thought, feeling, and emotions. It's a very good to say, oh, don't get influenced by others. We are already influenced and dictated by our own mind. It's a very philosophical way. No, 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 don't talk to that guy. Oh, you, honey, you talk to that. That is why you have these thoughts. I hardly take care of my mind. Think. Master says we need to think and reflect on this. Reflect on this. A single thought about you will cause you the anxiety, the depression. It will let you down. You can continue to live in the state of negativity for hours and days and weeks together. That is the power of the impurity of the mind, power of ignorance, power of impurity, power of delusion. Think, think. That is why the master says that without cultivating a self discipline over the mind, we cannot purify this mind. We cannot. We cannot purify this mind. And that is summarized. I've been telling you that the moment you wake up. So now see, imagine, think of it. What should be done? Every day when you wake up, first thing is to do is the Shanti mantra. You wake up, you are awake, you are still lying on the bed. Your mind should remind you, let me sit down, close my eyes, and let me say to the mind, Asato Ma Satyagamaya. Pick up any mantra, moving from the false to the real. Mind, what are the false and deluded thoughts you have? I'm not entertaining you. You have to think because the mind thinks in that impurity, the impure way. That is the only alternative. I have no other because if I have a negative thought, I recognize it, I realize it, and I introduce. The mantra means that I'm introducing a positive thought. His mind has not learned since our birth to have a thought, feeling, and emotion about the real self. It has opposite thoughts, good and bad. Today I may be a good teacher for you, but tomorrow I'll be a bad teacher. Who is responsible? You are not responsible. Mind is responsible. We are always excited in American life, always excited to go for a date. We wait, we wear, we dress for hours together, and after that, what happens? I need not to tell you. So the first date, where my mind goes through the senses, is full of sensuality, sensual pleasure. Think anyone or everyone who may be highly intelligent doesn't make any difference. Charlie is thinking what I have done. No, no, you have done right. Now learn. See that. This is what happens to, this is the crazy mind does it. So now you summarize it. Asato ma satagamaya. So I become aware, I wake up. After I am awake, I wake up, and now I'm vigilant. Mind, hold on. Asato ma satagamaya. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Moving from ignorance to wisdom. No, I loved my honey, but now I hate. Honey loved me, now he or she doesn't love me. Oh, ignorance to wisdom. First, let me love myself. Let me get rid of this craziness. I have to follow a kind of a self-discipline every day in the morning. How long? Simple answer. You keep on doing it, and the day comes, you wake up in the morning, your mind says, it's saying through the smile, Asato ma Sati. No more. So you have weakened those thoughts, feeling, and emotions, which causes the mind, puts the mind into delusion, which causes the obsession, which causes the craving, which causes the reaction, which causes the anxiety and the duality and a conflict. All are gone. Because mind is living my life. I'm not living. I'm led by the mind rather than I lead the mind. One thing is very clear. If I'm mind is leading me, I'm not living a happy life. I'm not living a life of harmony. I'm not living a life of peace. And that is why we say purify the mind. I'm summarizing so that we can continue. We will move to the highest and the strongest method to purify the mind. Initially, nowadays, now we are covering conventional methods for purification of the mind. Conventional methods, we have covered the yajna. I have to get rid of that selfishness. Yajna, dana, we have covered the charity. But charity, not only the physical thing, but emotional, mental. We have covered the self-discipline, titiksha. We have also covered yajna, tapa, dana. We have covered the japa. So after you do the Shanti mantra daily, you are awake and you do that. Oh, mortality to immortality. Think of this. This mind can never help me even dream or imagine that I don't die. Why? I'm obsessively attached to the body and the mind. Mind is leading me. Oh, you have taken the birth. For all practical purposes, we say, I am the body. So this body has to die, it means I will also die. But by repetition, by self-discipline, the mind starts getting detached with the body and the mind complex. Then only, then only something good takes birth. Who am I? I am the real nature of the nature of consciousness. Otherwise, it will not take birth. So the fourth discipline, I said, the japa. You simply do Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Mentally, you may feel that other thoughts, feelings, and emotions are moving into your mind. To make it weaker, I have to repeat it. I have to replace Om Shanti. The Shanti, that peace, hides behind our deluded thoughts, feelings, and emotions. That is how this journey of Eastern wisdom works. Tapa and the japa. So just 5 to 10 minutes of everyday practice in the morning and in the evening, you analyze how many times you were in anxiety, intellect comes into play. It is because of this crazy mind. It is because of the crazy mind has a typical thoughts, feeling, and emotions that is guided by the delusion. Let me drop it. You will get a sleep in a minute. But it takes time in the beginning. You just keep on doing it without faith. And after a few weeks and a month, you will recognize this is one way. And another way that we have done a couple of sessions of relaxation. So every time you relax, you see the relax and calmness is there in the body and also in the mind. So there is a rise in awareness about the mind. What is that rise in awareness? You will recognize that your body is deeply relaxed, but the mind is jumping here and there with those opposite thoughts and causing you the anxiety. So, on one hand, you are totally calm and relaxed, and because of the thought process, you are in anxiety and reaction. So, further, there is a rise in awareness, and you will see, oh, let me leave these thoughts. So, different approaches, and if we follow both the approaches, what a good thing it would be. So it gives you the enhanced mental clarity. It strengthens your willpower. What is that? Willpower lives in the intellect. So the mind paralyzes the intellect. It doesn't allow you to think. It does not give you a choice when you are in anxiety, reaction, anger, and hesitation or delusion. But because of enhanced mental clarity, because of deeper state of calmness and relaxation, that mind that was paralyzing the intellect gives you a choice. And in that choice, you have a willpower. That willpower recognizes, oh, these thoughts are not required. Ah, if one is crazy, why should I think about it? Why should I have a hatred and anxiety against anyone? That guy may be sleeping and resting, and I'm unnecessarily thinking. So that is the mental maturity. And that brings the emotional well being. Think. Otherwise, we can just continue to do all the stuff. It is not going to help us. And we discussed in detail that mind is leading my life is due to the past impressions, like millions and trillions vasanas, and the vasana trigger those impressions inside me when I wake up, I look outside, or I remember the internal thought process, it creates a projection. That means it creates an imagined thought in the field, which is full of likes and dislikes, attachment and detachment, emotional dependence, selfishness, and ultimately the intellectual paralyzed, which results into delusion. So we are living in a deluded life all the time. That is the result of the impurity of the mind. Think, think. So a kind of a self-discipline, a regular, without break is required. Or you can say the same meditation is required. Daily, without break. And once we recognize it, we will find the life is going to change. Now it is on the track to the journey of the self discovery. Otherwise, it does not fall on that track. And if it is, there is no track, are these six conventional methods, then we will not be able to have a strong foundation to apply the best conventional methods for self discovery, where we are moving slowly. So let us close your eyes and start our practice. What I'm giving you, I'm just giving you the thoughts, feeling, emotions with a reference to the Eastern wisdom by communicating to you. Do you think that this is what is happening? So eyes are closed, find out the right place around you, place around you, the space all around your body. That is, and if you are able to see it clearly, that is a wonderful thing. And then the position of the body, you're simply aware. You see that? This is just a thought. What thought? I said position of the body. So the mind is aware of the position of the body. Means what? When I'm aware of the position of the body, I'm not aware of someone else outside with whom I have an attachment or detachment, reaction, or anxiety. By regular practice and committing to it, we rise in awareness. So, place, position, and posture with reference to the body, and then being comfortable. So, again, we further rise in awareness. I told you, being comfortable changes the direction of the mind. So you are looking at, mentally looking at the body. Mind takes for granted because I am the body, so it, it moves itself in delusion and it moves the body in delusion. So we raise our awareness by being comfortable, looking at the entire joints of the body, looking at the neck joint going deeper inside. You goal is to change the direction of the mind. So if you are vigilant and attentive, you know the mind has changed the direction. And in that, the moment there is a change in direction, you experience sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Look at it. You did nothing. Can you imagine how deeper the influence of the mind, the impure mind, the same way how stronger and deeper the influence of the pure mind will be in our day-to-day living. The entire body and experience sensation, comfort and steadiness. Now you have shared a couple of your experiences. Hey, I am not able to relax properly. It is because the mind wants to jump outside. It does not want to ask you to lead the mind. Mind is leading you, is the cause that you are not able to calm down and separate from the thought process. And that is why we have a third step is being carefree. And I make it so simple. I am saying you that you look inside the forehead in the space and consider the space is like a sky where the birds are flying, where the thought, feeling, and emotions are coming and going. They do not disturb the space the way the birds do not disturb, do not change the space, the sky. Nothing happens to the sky. Why we say this? Can you separate even during the meditation for few minutes and I do not succeed means mind is leading me. What should I do? So being carefree, and if you become carefree, then what we are doing, just we become aware of three layers of the body. The physical body, physical, anything physical which has a name and the shape and the form. So we have the name and the form and the shape is the physical. And which has the five senses and the five motor organs is known as the physical body. Just become aware. Inside this physical body dwells inside the subtle body. In the subtle body is the mind, intellect, ego, and the memory. Body doesn't move by itself. The mind, which is leading me, intellect, which is paralyzed due to the impurity of the mind, ego, selfishness, memory, past impressions. You see, they are ruling my life and my body. I am not aware of it. And the third body, we say it is an ignorant body, body of ignorance. I don't know who am I. If I have a physical body, the subtle body, and the causal body. Any feeling and thought and emotions at present is an indication of the subtle body and its domination. On the other hand, you will discover the physical body continues to remain steady. But how come those thought, feeling, and emotions triggers in the mind? It is because of the causal body, the body of ignorance and the past impressions. See? So behind that causal body, there is a real self. Or you can say, the real self transcends. When we transcend all the three bodies, we find the real self. So we remain involved and engrossed in these three bodies days after days, weeks, months, and years, and we have no clue even if we are of the real nature. The waves in the fogs clouds the ocean, I don't see the water, unchanging nature, because the fog and waves keeps on changing. That is our journey. So in the beginning, we introduce the mantra to help the mind to go there. Asato ma satgamaya, asato ma satgamaya, asato ma satgamaya. Meaning moving from the false to the real. Body, body is there, but I am the body is false. I am the mind is false. So we reflect on it. What comes out of reflection that any anxiety, duality, conflict in my life at any time is caused by the false. Can I recognize and live in? Can I become aware during the day? So what happens? Your awareness separates you from the deluded mind. You have yet to achieve what is real. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Moving from the ignorance to wisdom. Simple question we never ask. Do I know who I am? Now you are clear that I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, and I'm not the ignorance. At least that starts resolving my ignorance. So let me see if I'm not the body, mind, and ego and the ignorance and anxiety and duality, then who am I? So your mind naturally moves within. That is why we are doing the mantra. Mrityoramam mritangamaya, mrityoramam mritangamaya. You need not to even recite the mantra in Sanskrit. You just translate. What is simple meaning? Let me move from the mortality to the immortality. Immortality, uncreated. Mortality, created. Whatever is created has a birth, has a growth, and has a death. Mind, body, house, car, anything that is created has a name in the form. So, what is uncreated? Real self. That is why it doesn't take birth and doesn't die. That is the journey and discovery. Who distorts this? Who mind is distorted by its impurity. It doesn't. It says no where it is. So if that is why we have to purify the mind, if we don't purify the mind, it will not work that way. So that is our stage one of this meditation. In the stage two, we will introduce some active steps which will help engage the mind. So looking into the space inside the forehead and gently drop the mantra Shanto Ham, Shanto Ham, Shanto Ham, with a meaning that I am the peace, I am the peace, Shanto Ham. Even though you have all the crazy thought, feeling, and emotions, they are just visiting your mind. They are not disturbing you. Can I recognize that? So if I recognize they are the visitors and I introduce another thought, that is the mantra, the Shantoham, looking into the space inside the forehead, you see that I have to raise my alertness and I have to remain vigilant, maintain the steadiness in the body, continue with the Shantoham, and looking into the space. In that state, you start breathing also. Continue, just start breathing. You will be able to know whether the mind is leading you or you are leading the mind, right? Today we'll be doing for a couple of minutes. Continue. Continue breathing. Continue breathing. Continue dropping Shanto deep inside the forehead in the space. Her mind doesn't want to do it, and your intellect says, no, endure it and do it. Can you really do it? And if you can do it, that would be a great step advancing into this journey. But if your mind takes over you, obviously, then you fail to do it. But again, we have to continue to reach to that state of endurance in the will to continue. Now leave that step. Look at the flow of the breath. Look at the flow of the breath. So look at the flow of the breath. And if the flow of the breath is equal, you are advancing into meditation. And if it remains equal, the flow of the breath remains equal, you are advancing into it. So on one hand, the flow of the breath is equal, clear. Second, you continue to remain, you have a stillness in the body, and that results into sensation, relaxation, and stillness. But we naturally check. We check it is natural. So you look at the head and the neck and experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Right arm, you start feeling sensation, relaxation, and stillness in the right arm. The moment I say left arm, same feeling. If you have the same experience of sensation, relaxation, and stillness, the mind is now living within. Now, what means we are leading the mind. First time you experience, what do you experience? That you are relaxed, calm, and enjoy independent, independent of any object, relations, people, situation, event outside. Is it not a testimony that something higher and deeper lives within me, behind the mind? You see how I design these steps of meditation. We have to go very deeper. So in that state, we skip to the stage number 3, return to the flow of the breath. Just looking at the return to the flow of the breath means you are not doing anything. You are not doing anything, just watching or just awareness of the breath. So here we don't ask the mind to do anything, which demands lot of effort. So you check whether the flow is equal. It indicates a deeper state. And every time the breath goes in, mentally you drop shanto hum, you breathe in. When you are dropping shanto hum while breathing in, look at the space inside the forehead. And while breathing out, again you drop the mantra looking into the infinite space outside. So everywhere we find the space, continue. Why? Because we want this mind should not lead me by any thoughts of delusion, anxiety, impurity. I know your mind may be distracted because of what I explained to you. Bow, arrow, sword. I believe you remember. And also, the doubt is like a knife. Where is the, oh, what will happen? Mind thinks remotely, and your mind drops the practice you have, influx of the thoughts, and then you share your experiences that I have lot of thoughts in the meditation. What I have to say, I have to say, please continue, continue. One day it will happen. Continue. Influx of thought means mind is leading me, and I become aware and attentive to lead the mind gently. What is gentle way? I told you, you start looking at the breath, breath going in, and you say Shanto Hum, and the space inside the forehead. Even once you do it, even once you do it, the mind changes the direction. But it does not happen by force, control. If you want to do it by force and control, it is the same impure mind is doing it to evade the practice. What do you mean? Yes. Mm, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Oh, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Oh, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your Buddha palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. If you succeed in meditation, check that state of the mind, which is independent of everything outside. That state of the mind, if you are communicating, you can convince anyone. And the more conviction you have, every friend of yours will ask you what exactly you are doing it. That doesn't happen. If that doesn't happen, we understand. So, how are you, Sophie?
Thank you, Girish. I'm good. Uh, I didn't fall asleep, but I was very deep and I jerked a couple of times. So yeah, I feel good. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, yeah. So drifting, yeah, oh, drifting is there. So simply you have a thought. Mind, you're leading me, trying to lead me. Let me do what I'm doing. I'm dropping Shantoham, looking inside the forehead. You say, you think like that. So once you have a thought like this during the practice, those thoughts will take you away.
Thank you.
Very good. How are you, Charlie?
Hi. Yeah, I found it harder today to focus, but towards the end it was very helpful. I have a question for you. The reason, and actually this would be helpful when intense things happen in your life. Yesterday, my elderly neighbour came round. Her husband had died, and she came to get me, and we waited for the police. And I came in and saw his body, and obviously it was awful. After the ambulance came and everything, I came back and I did one of the meditations that you did, the very first one of the 6.
Yeah.
But maybe you could share, because obviously it's only been a day, but my mind keeps going to it, and obviously that makes sense, but in the context of what we're doing, it's still
Yeah.
my mind doing it. Could you perhaps give
Yes, yes,
me
yes.
and us some guidance on how to deal with it?
Mind is leading us. How mind is leading us because of the anxiety, because of the fear of the death.
Right.
Why there is a fear of the death? Because I'm attached to the body. So why I am attached to the body? There comes the role of the mind, which is constantly leading me. And I'm not aware in the beginning that I'm not the body and the mind. So, what is the first thing to do? Externally, if someone dies, I remember my dad died in 1989. So, I was there and looking at the body. My older brother, who is also no more, he was deadly scared and he said, I love my dad the most. Now see the situation. But what happened in those days, I already had my intense practices. So I was touching the dead body, but my internally mind was totally calm. It was remembering that I am not the body. So my dad is also not the body. There is something else. And that level of discernment lived in me. I did not have even the tears. And I performed all the rituals. Until I performed all the rituals, my older brother remained crying at the corner of the house. He did not dare to touch. On the other hand, he claimed that he loved the father the most. Can you see the example of how the mind leading my life out of the fear? Out of the fear, I used to hug that body, but now I'm scared.
Right. I've got a very black sense of humor, and I just thought, well, universe or Eastern wisdom, we've done a whole series on I am not the body, but you didn't have to put one in front of me to test me on it.
Yes, yes, yes. So every time.
I mean, I told you I've got a pretty black sense of humor, but I was just like, okay, I'm not the body, but it still freaked the hell out of me. I'm sorry.
So internally, I maintain that state of recognition that I am not the body. Outer life is social, whatever the society demands me to do it at the time of the death of a person, we do it. We do it. outer action appears to be same.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But what changes is my internal state of the mind. The mind is free from the delusion, or the mind is full of wisdom. I have a choice.
Right. And that's because of our practice. Right.
So I was discussing in the last week's session that you look at the cop killing the young guy, and the young guy also killing the teacher and the students of his school. So the killing is the same, the outer action is the same gun, same bullets, and same killing. But if the cop kills, what is his intention inside? And if the young guy kills, what is the state of the mind inside? That matters most. Many cops, during our shooting in the schools, many cops have killed those youths. Yes, it is their duty. But killing is the same. Do you see? Killing is the same. But those young guys killed tens of children and the teacher is a sin. Killing is the same. The cops kills, it is a merit. He performed his duty. So I have to learn, I have to check my mind. Mind is leading me, I will commit sin. I am leading the mind. So it should remain all the time. If it remains all the time, the life changes. How are you, John?
Hey, Girish, I'm fine. I think your answer to Charlie was really interesting and very helpful. I think during the practice, I probably suffered. Well, I didn't probably. I suffered from monkey mind, but at least I think I have a pretty good understanding of what's happening there and what's going on.
Yes, yes. Even understanding what is happening in the mind, I can recognize, is the mind leading me or I'm leading the mind? And that will make a difference. So when I think in that way, understanding means intellect, and intellect means knowledge. Knowledge means awareness. It will minimize. But if I continue to have the same understanding, if I miss that understanding, then miss is sitting under, not above. How are you, Ed?
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm very quiet and peaceful, but I think the last 10 minutes maybe, I think I fell asleep.
Yeah, 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 it's okay. Yeah,
So,
it's okay. Yeah, it's okay, but by repeat practice and remaining vigilant, we recognize the higher state. Say, Anne didn't sleep in that state of the quietness and the calmness. That calmness I can find, it is coming from deeper within me. Why? It is independent of anything outside. It does not depend on any object, thing, situation. And that is how we discover our real nature. That is all. Thank you very much. We'll meet again.
thank
Namaste.
you.